Hey everybody, Catherine here. If you are watching this video in the future, I hope that our world has gotten back to normal and that you are all out enjoying nature, backpacking trips, RVing, national parks, and all of the outdoors. I recently uploaded a video discussing the gear that I bring for a multiple day backpacking trip. I received several requests for a video on what food I bring on a multiple day backpacking trip. I'm going to go ahead and start with snacks, lunch, and dinner, since that's what I have already out on the table here, and then we will jump to breakfast. With all of my food, I usually portion everything out for each day. One of my go-to snacks is trail mix. Trader Joe's usually has a great selection of trail mix, and it depends on what kind of mood I am as to what kind I get. This one happens to have some chocolate in it, which I'm a kind of a sweet tooth, so anything with chocolate in it I like. However, it doesn't have to have chocolate. I also like very smoky type almonds, like the smokehouse type almonds. Sometimes I'll bring plain old nuts, and I usually like almonds, cashews. Those are my favorites, almonds and cashews. I also bring bars. This is something I haven't tried before, these Quest bars. It looks like they're really high in protein, and this one is a chocolate chip cookie dough bar. And then, of course, you have your standard Cliff Bar. I enjoy these. This is the Peanut Butter Crunch Cliff Bar. That's my favorite kind. It's usually the only kind I bring. The other very important item that I bring for a snack that I don't have here with me now is candy, some sort of candy or chocolate. I like to bring the peanut M&Ms. Usually they don't melt if you keep them kind of tucked away in your backpack, and they do have a source of protein because they have a peanut in it. Generally what I'll do is I'll remove my snacks and my lunch for the day from my food bag, and I'll put it in a Ziploc bag at the very top of my pack. I like to pack my food bag sort of in the center of my backpack because it's usually the heaviest item, and you usually want the heaviest item centered on your back. So that kind of gets shoved in there, and I don't want to have to keep pulling it out in order to have food to eat. So sometimes I'll keep a little snack in my zip pouch on my backpack right on my hip, and then I'll also keep a Ziploc bag at the very top of my pack, which is easy access. Speaking of lunch, I usually have the same thing for a while until I get sick of it, and then I'll mix it up a bit. For a while there, I was having salami and cheese in a tortilla, and that was probably for a couple seasons. I ate that pretty much regularly for lunch. I kind of burned out on it, and then more recently I went to peanut butter in a tortilla. And now lately I have switched to having some beef jerky, or I've even tried these Wild Zora meat and veggie bars, and then some sort of a cheese snack. And that's usually my lunch. I have been enjoying this moon cheese, which is really cool. It's really lightweight. It's dehydrated cheese. It's 100% cheese. Very flavorful, very light. I have also tried these Parmesan crisps, and these are really good also. Lots of flavor. I love cheese. One thing to make note of is if you do want to bring real cheese, you want to stick with the sharp cheddar cheese. That keeps for a long time on the trail, and that's one of the reasons I was eating the salami and cheese for so long. However, a block of cheese is pretty heavy. Even if I brought a half a block of cheese, it's a little bit of weight, so this is a good alternative. However, they can be a little bit pricey. I have found that they're much cheaper in Rite Aid than they are in REI by about probably $3. I usually top off my lunch with a few peanut M&Ms. By the way, whenever possible, I do try to take the beef jerky, for instance, out of the packaging and put it in Ziploc bags, because that takes up a lot less space in your pack and saves you some weight. Moving on to dinner. For dinner, I do like to utilize the dehydrated meals as much as possible because they are so light. They save a lot of weight. I know that they're pricey, but for me, this is a 2-serving meal. It's about $8, and I split it up into 2 servings. I can't eat 2 servings at one sitting. That's too much for me. So what I will generally do is go ahead and take it out of the packaging and split it up into 2 Ziploc bags. I'll write on the outside in Sharpie what my meal is and the directions for cooking it. And I'll only bring one of the actual pouches, and I'll just keep using that one over and over. I get a BPA free freezer Ziploc bag, and I'll go ahead and just pour the water right into the bag, put it in the pouch, and then warm it up that way. For this particular trip, I am bringing the Mountain House beef stew and also the creamy mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is a favorite of mine when I'm out backpacking. I actually like the Backpacker Pantry 4-cheese macaroni and cheese. However, REI was out of it this time. So I'm going to be trying theirs. And I've never had this beef stew, so that's going to be interesting. So these 2 meals here will actually make 4 meals for me. So that's 4 nights covered. And then generally for the 5th night, if I just need a single meal and I don't want to break up one of these 2 serving meals, I'll just bring some ramen. My recent favorite is a chili flavored ramen, and I always love ramen. I can always eat ramen on the trail. I always have an appetite for it, and it always tastes really good to me. So say what you will about ramen, but I happen to like it. I do also have this Backpacker Pantry chicken piccata meal, which was really good. However, I didn't eat the second half of it on my last trip, so I still have a meal, and I might bring that too. We'll see how I feel. Ta-da! And now let's talk about what I eat in the morning. All right, guys, breakfast is pretty boring for me. It's usually the same thing all the time, and that would be oatmeal and coffee. I love the maple and brown sugar oatmeal, and I love these Trader Joe's coffee packets. They are complete with cream and sugar, which I like my coffee to have cream and sugar. I don't like it black. And they are only usually about $1.99 for a box of 10. They're not as strong as I like coffee to be. I like my coffee very strong. So that's a bit of a bummer, but what are you going to do? You sometimes have to sacrifice what you would normally have. That's why it's always such a treat to go eat the minute that you get out of the backcountry and have some real food. But it's not about the food in the backcountry, it's about the experience. Food is just really something to sustain you while you're out there. I know some people can tend to get pretty gourmet out there, but that usually involves carrying more weight, and right now, I just prefer to travel as light as possible. But really, the dehydrated meals aren't so bad. I also want to give a mention to some of the things that I bring as sort of energy boosters. I do like these Honey Stinger waffles and also these Honey Stinger gummies. I know they probably have a lot of sugar in them, but they have a lot of calories as well. And sometimes your body does need a boost of sugar out there. Also, I use these Propel packets that I put into my water, and that helps me as well. I usually just use these if I know I'm going to have a big climb. I don't always use them, but I do if I feel like I just need a little bit of an extra boost. So that is it. That's what I'll be bringing for a 5-night, 6-day trip, keeping my fingers crossed that things start to smooth out and I can still go ahead and go on this trip. I hope that you are all doing well and keeping safe out there, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.